everybody again for the opportunity to be with you. So I've got some observations for you. The first observation is that how and where we live has a profound effect on the environment, and how and where we develop land has a profound effect. Jim Rue made reference to this and the fact that the state of Oregon is not only an innovator, but really unique in this country in its early recognition of that and its smart ways in pursuing it. Smart if continuing to, if you're continuing to find your way. The second observation I would make is that there is a pronounced market trend, meaning what people want, that favors walkable, compact, amenity-rich, mixed-use communities. The realtor surveys will tell you this, land values will tell you this, your millennial child will tell you this. The third observation is that this market trend, I think originally was most noticed or even particularly pronounced in urban areas, but now we can see it across different communities in this country. It continues to be a pronounced trend in urban areas. You can see that out the window here. But what I think is most interesting and potentially of interest to those of us working in rural communities is that this is a pronounced trend in small towns and rural communities. This interest in main streets, in traditionally built compact and mixed-use places, of which there are plenty in this country, including in this region. So another observation is that investment patterns have followed this social trend. Okay, so as people have chosen, as people have this preference for this type of living, we've seen that investment has followed, and that's not just residential land values, but it's also the workforce, and it's also how corporate America is investing, and it's also how people who work, whether they're self-employed or are job creators, where they set up shop. So on the corporate side, we've seen a movement towards compact mixed-use areas, including in smaller towns, but also what I would invite you to think about is what people who can have a portable job or create their own job are doing. And what we have seen, and again, this is a pronounced trend across the country, is that people will choose the place to live and then find out the job or create the job once they get there. And that's not to say that everybody has the luxury of being in such a position or has the ambition to be in such a position, but again, it's a trend. We've seen many more people who will find the place and then decide on what they will do, and that is different than before. So the sum of all this is that I would offer an observation on what gives small towns and rural communities a competitive advantage. The first is cherishing and building on those traditional, or for that matter, new, compact, mixed-use, walkable places. And again, whether it's a traditional main street or a newly developed community that meets that trend, that's a tremendous asset regardless of community size. The second thing I want to throw in there, and I haven't said the word so far, but Senator McCoy in the last session talked a lot about it, and this really is a game changer, and I think of importance for rural communities and small towns is broadband. Okay, so in talking about this amenity-rich, the asset of an amenity-rich, good place to be, broadband is part of that. But what's interesting about broadband is it kind of does double duty in my experience. It is a utility. It is a necessary utility for our modern economy, just like electricity, water, and other traditional utilities are. Okay, and if you don't have it, that takes you, out of play for many, if not most or all, modern industries. But the second thing we can think about is broadband as an amenity. As people have a place, for those people and those investors who have a choice in where to go, having not only the bare minimum of broadband, but something that is, particularly, well priced and broad, that's an advantage. And we've seen investors go, including to smaller communities, when you have those things. So I'll stop there. But again, just to say that what I find particularly interesting is that those trends and those competitive advantages, there is no reason that small towns and rural communities can't take advantage of them, and in fact, even take advantage of them in ways beyond the capabilities of urban areas.